right, then let's get it. I have an artist in front of me. She likes to spit bars, and she also likes to make you feel a soulful feel with her voice. And she is out here to make sure that she makes her voice known. And she's been doing music for a very long time, and we're going to get her story. Welcome to the J. Stokes Project, Sativa Minerva. What's going on? How you doing today?
Oh, thank you. I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm happy to be here. I've been looking forward to this.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I've been keeping up with a lot of artists that I've met and whose music I've listened to in California so far. It's been like in the past year and a half or so. Thank you for the work so far, and once again, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So, of course, your journey started way before I heard an inauguration, and we're going to get to in a little bit more detail about that. So we're going to start with your story from the beginning. Mm-hmm. You were born and raised in Duluth, Minnesota.
Duluth, Minnesota.
So here's the thing. When people think of Minnesota when it comes to music, there's always two musicians that they think of, especially specifically. One of them is from Duluth, Bob Dylan. And then, of course, the overall state of Minnesota, Prince.
The GOAT of the world. Maybe I'm biased, but yeah. Now,
that's a part of the country I have never been to. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Duluth, Minnesota. I know there's different other towns in different states that are Duluth, but Duluth, Minnesota is its own place. Mm-hmm. What was it like being growing up there and, having your childhood there?
Yeah, it was amazing for me because I got to experience all of the seasons. I got to experience having a white Christmas, learning how to ice skate, learning how to ski, learning how to snowboard, learning how to ice fish. I was a hockey cheerleader, so it's kind of like most people didn't get those experiences, and you can really only get that in a place like that. It's just very, obviously, freezing cold. The majority of the year is freezing. I think it just started now, starting to warm up for the season. But it's snowed on Mother's Day before. It's snowed on Easter before, where any other state, that's not normal, right?
Yeah.
So I had to get out of there, expeditiously. But I'm blessed to be able to have those winter experiences.
Yeah, because for me, especially when it comes to the winter experience, the snowy days, and you get out of school because of a snow day or anything like that.
Loved it.
You know what I'm saying?
The best. Yeah.
Most definitely. Did you grow up with siblings?
I have 5 siblings.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 6, so yeah, there was 3 girls and 3 boys.
So you had to learn how to share. Mm-hmm. Definitely had to learn how to be in an environment where you had to, look out for each other, or hopefully your siblings are looking out for you.
You would think.
You know what I'm saying?
You would think they would.
Growing up in Minnesota, what's really unique about the state? Anything cool about it that sticks out to your mind? You're out here on the West Coast, mm-hmm. but is there anything about it that you miss, or that still kind of brings you back good memories about it?
I mean, my childhood was good, it's full of good memories just because we were always outside, me and my mother and my brother closest to me in age. We were always just a few blocks from Lake Superior, which is the biggest lake in the world.
Most definitely.
In the world.
Yeah.
So we would just be riding our bikes, nighttime, daytime, whatever time, and we would go camping. And as cold as it is, that just kind of means because there's so much moisture and water when it is summer and springtime, everything is just so green and so lush. So just really, it made me fall in love with being outdoors and being an outdoorsy person. Yeah, I don't know, that was just my experience.
Yeah.
I think it's special. It was special to be able to wake up and see that view. To be able to, my school was on top of the hill, because it's kind of like the lake is at the bottom of the city, and then everything else is around it. So you just get to see it driving down the hill. You just see this lake, and it was just it still is, and I do miss that view. That's nothing you could get really, with the ocean. Not the same way.
Most definitely. Yeah, it's an interesting part of the country. I've met a couple of people from Minnesota or Wisconsin or stuff like that, and I always ask them that. I'm like, what is it like up there? But I do hear and actually you kind of just said it. That's the common thing that I hear people either say it's really special or real unique in itself.
Yeah.
It seems like it's pretty consistent in terms of the vibe that it gives off being in that part of the country.
Yeah, it is very special. I will say there's a lack of diversity. It has changed over the years, but growing up, I was literally always the only like colored girl or mixed kid or whatever. So I didn't have many role models that looked like me, representing me out there, whether like for anything like in school or whatever it was all just very white. It wasn't just the snow.
Music came early for you. It came really early. What made you want to pursue music anyway? And then first off, didn't your mom have an influence on it, as far as you wanting to, or did she just play music?
She had a great taste. Yeah, my mother had great taste, has great taste. So it was just the exposure for me, just her playing the greats, like of course Prince, Michael Jackson, James Brown. She would play her mariachi music, Juan Gabriel. My sister got into Selena, like what else? Like just everything, like literally like the Jackson 5. Like she would listen to some old country, like Patsy Cline, Linda Ronstadt. Who am I forgetting? Another one, Linda Ronstadt and. Oh, it just lost me. It was there, but just literally like a little bit of everything. But my mom can't sing. You know, she wasn't creative in that way, but she can draw. She still was a creative person. But I'd say what actually got me into like wanting to create more was my brother was a poet. He started writing poetry, and then he also started rapping. And I kind of watched how that transformed for him. And my sister, she had the most beautiful voice. And I think at a young age, I kind of saw the attention and like the praise she got. And aside from like it being a beautiful talent, I think that being the youngest, you're kind of always competing for attention, right? So like, I think that's looking back as an adult now, I'm like, well, she's getting all this attention. Let me show you how I can shine. Let me show you what I can do. And so it's kind of like, I think that played a part in it too. And the fact that I naturally also had a voice. And it just made sense.
That's what I was going to go to. I was as far as asking if you had siblings, because, you know, as far as sibling rivalry, I was wondering if that came into play, but that's what it sounds like. That's where it started. But is that fair way to put it?
I don't know if it was like rivalry.
You're just following what your siblings did, kind of?
Yeah, like, you know, I feel like as a young spirit in the world, you gravitate towards what the other ones are here, the experienced ones, the wise ones, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think I just kind of gravitated towards that. I was like, she sounds pretty, I also want to sound pretty. Yeah. And then I really just loved it. It felt good to sing. It was very like soothing for me. If I was sad, I would like sing a sad song and kind of learned how to regulate my nervous system and kind of regulate my emotions that way. So if I felt like I wasn't getting the attention that I needed, I would self-soothe through music.
Right. That's what's up. Because if I remember correctly in a past interview, I think you said you sang in the church choir, and did you sing in school? Were you in the choir?
Absolutely. Yeah. So church was so brief. It was a very brief thing for me. But like they'd have different like holiday things where, you know, like say like Christmas or something, they'd want us to read like a line or something, like have all the kids read a line. And I was super shy, but I would get up there and I would read my line, and then that turned into being invited to like sing into the choir. I didn't have really like a want to do it. So I think I did it, like I tried it out a couple times and I was like, this really isn't for me. But from there, I started getting into choir in like grade school. And then through high school, I became more developed. My ear was trained. I learned how to sight read. I learned how to actually write music. I actually ended up getting a scholarship for music to go to college for it.
That's what I was about to say. You just brought up a really key thing in music. Sight reading is very important. Because I was in the school band for a little bit, from middle school through high school, and they always emphasized sight reading. When it comes to that, was that difficult for you to be able to learn that? Because it comes easier for some people than others. So for you, for sight reading specifically, that's really key.
I think it's interesting because I always learned by hearing it first, like by ear, right? If I know it's supposed to be this, or if I know it goes up, I know it goes down, I can kind of guess, like if it's at a half note or a whole note, how much it's going down. So I kind of I think cheated at first because maybe it was difficult for me.
Right.
But once I actually took the time to learn or asked my teacher for some assistance, it was kind of like, okay, this isn't as difficult as I thought it was. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that came natural, but.
You mentioned, of course, you did go to school for music, but was that around the time that you had moved to Florida?
So I never ended up going to school for music. I got the scholarship and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go be this famous superstar and audition for American Idol and go get this huge $2 million record deal and do my own thing.
Right.
I was very hard-headed. Very hard-headed, and being a hard-headed teenager with, a lack of direction and a lack of guidance, who knows, because I'm here now, right? I can't say whether or not that was the right choice to make at the time, but that was my journey.
Yeah.
That was my path. So I said, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to be a music teacher. I don't want to go into it in this direction. And I just decided to take a completely different direction. And that's when I moved to Orlando.
You went to Orlando, and of course, when some people think of going there, they think of automatically Full Sail University.
Exactly.
Yeah, automatically, because I used to live in Orlando for about a year, and you're either at UCF or Full Sail, and you're trying to get into movies or audio production of some sort. Did you meet anybody that went there around that time while you were there? Did it kind of help you progress in any way?
So I moved to Orlando with some friends because their parents own a house there, so we had dirt cheap rent.
That's always good.
And I also knew that was a bigger city where they American Idol and different reality TV shows hosted auditions and casting calls. So I was like, you know what, this is the place. Plus Disney's there, and there was a lot going on. And someone did tell me about Full Sail. I couldn't even tell you who, I don't remember. But I thought about it, and I didn't stay there long. I was there for less than a year. I didn't stay there long enough to actually really lock in and go to school.
But you weren't there long?
I wasn't there long at all. Orlando was just a very brief moment in time. Yeah. But I did hear about Full Sail. In hindsight, I wish I would have went to Full Sail. I think that would have been so fire to have that skill now.
Yeah, I get kind of a mixed reception when it comes to that. As far as, it either is really good for you or you just kind of wasted your time there. It's I feel like there's nothing in the middle. Did you get that? Did anyone kind of tell you the same thing? Or was it or it's just, you just missed the opportunity and you just didn't do it? I
didn't do it. I didn't have the focus at the time. If you don't have focus, you don't have a purpose. You know what I mean? Not saying that you don't have a purpose, spiritually or whatever, but you need to be constantly working towards something. And I was young. I just had graduated. I was just out here dilly-dallying, just, shooting my shot wherever, and I just lacked the focus, honestly. I lacked the direction. So who's to say, if it would have been more beneficial for me or just a waste of time, a waste of money. I did try, once I got to Virginia, going to different production schools and things like that. And I'm I just want to focus on being an artist and more the creative side than the technical side.
Most definitely. So you weren't in Orlando that long. You kind of were trying to figure yourself out, and I get it. You're young at that point. You're trying to see where the next path or the next thing will take you. From there, you went to Virginia to Virginia Beach. Did you have relatives there, or what was the deal with going? What was the reason or the motivation to move to Virginia?
I have a sister, and at the time she was in the Air Force. She was in the Air Force. She had married a recruiter, and that's why they ended up in like Hampton.
Yeah.
And they were going through a divorce. And while they were going through a divorce, things in Orlando with my roommates weren't working out. And I was like, this hasn't, been the best experience for me. Let me just throw everything in my car, drive 13 hours, and boom, I'm now in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Yeah. And, Virginia has a lot of very important music artists from there. Didn't you run into Pharrell and Pusha T during that time?
I did.
What was the situation or the circumstances behind that?
So I had a friend, and I was a waitress at the time at a restaurant, and this guy that I met was coming into the restaurant every Sunday with his family, and his father happened to also be like the pastor. So we kind of just grew a relationship, like a friendship, and come to find out he was in music. He actually went to Full Sail, believe it or not, which is funny. I met that later, or I discovered that later. So any kind of music event or things like that, he would invite me to. So he was like somehow already associated with Pharrell, and this is when he had released, was it a vodka? It was like a vodka or some kind of like liqueur.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember. That was some time ago though.
Yeah, so he was releasing this, and my friend brought me there, and I'm like, okay, he's up there, passing him out, go up there and get one. I'm like, okay, cool. So I went up there, and I got one, and then Push was there too, so I took a photo with him, and then I asked Pharrell, I'm like, can I get a photo with you? Mind you, I don't even know how I got on stage. I think I went back to the side where my friend was, because they were kind of like, that was like the stage side, and then like the general the general public was over on this side. And so I went over there, we got on the stage, and there's a couch. Pharrell is right here. He's on the other side of the couch. I'm like, there's a couch between us. I'm about to hop over this couch. I'm gonna get my picture.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And there's an older gentleman sitting right here and a woman sitting right here. And I'm like kind of reaching over them like, hey. I'm like, can we get a picture? And he's like, oh, hi. He's like, we're actually about to leave. I'm like, oh, like, I didn't want to like beg him, but I'm like, I'm Sativa, by the way, because I just needed him to know my name. And also at this point in time, I really didn't know like music business etiquette. Like, you don't just kind of throw yourself at people. You wait for the time, you know what I mean? The right timing to do that. And he's like, oh yeah, we're leaving. He's like, oh, Sativa, like you look like a sativa. And I was like, thank you. And I'm like, I don't really know what that meant, but I took it as a compliment. I'm like, thanks. I do, don't I?
Did he say that he caught a contact high as soon as he saw you or something?
I don't know. Pharrell, what does it mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you see this, what does it mean? What did you mean by that? But he was kind of like, these are my parents.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, hi. And then I felt kind of bad that I had been like reaching over them. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
You guys have a great night. And just kind of like left it at that. But still, he shook my hand and talked to me.
That's what's up. Especially meeting
yeah.
Especially for
You're right. Especially at that point, too. Like, him and the Clips were so big, you know?
At that point in time, for sure. Mm-hmm. And then, didn't you also meet Timbaland? Wasn't it a studio session or something? Or that you got a chance to kind of shadow some things or check something out? It has something to do with Timbaland.
Yeah, so Thomas Crown is in Virginia Beach, and that was a studio a couple of peers of mine were going to. I had connected with one of his producers, because, you know, he has a lot of people on the team on his camp. And I connected with a couple of them. We became friends as well. We grew our relationship, and he had brought me to Thomas Crown to kind of work on like a hip hop project with two other fellows that I think they were looking to start a group. So that was cool. I didn't meet Tim in the studio. I didn't meet him there at all. I met his uncle Eric though. Eric was cool.
Okay,
he kind of like ran things. I don't know. This was around the time before the studio, I think, stopped like operating. It was getting, I don't know if close to like being shut down, but there was a period where nobody was really going there anymore. It was kind of like exclusive if you were like really a part of the camp or something like that. I don't know if they sold it or whatever happened to it.
Okay. Yeah, because, you know, especially when you get into, you know, you meet those, you know, those huge musical figures at that point in time, and then with your music journey, was there any like Any realizations that you came to, harsh realities, or certain lessons that you learned at that point in your journey? What sticks out to you?
So the thing about Virginia is it's a very much like a crabs in a bucket mentality. And anyone from Virginia will tell you that. And what I mean by that is if they see like one person kind of rising, right? We see things going well for you, you're going this way, and instead of them supporting you, learning from you, absorbing your information and your experiences, trying to help themselves do the same, they'll bring you down.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that. So I think that around that time I had, tried to get on like on the Shag Fest lineup where there's other, like my peers were doing it and things like that. I had gotten on the radio station. I had been, I performed on television, and I just kind of felt like that was it for me. I'm like, this is kind of it. Like this is too small of a fish bowl. It's too small of a pond. And I'm to grow into a bigger fish. And you can only grow as big as your environment. And so that's when I made the decision to move to California.
As you just said, you moved to California from there. You moved in with your brother in Huntington Beach?
I did about a few months ago.
When you first got there, right?
July. No, he was in Huntington, and so random. I met a girl online, and we became friends. She was from Virginia, and I think we had a couple mutuals. And I don't know, she said she was into acting or modeling, something in the entertainment business. And she said that she sang. So we became friends. She flew out from San Diego to Virginia, and we met. And then it was super crazy. We met one time, and then after that, she ended up flying back out and then drove with me back to California from Virginia. And we ended up living together. It was super wild and unplanned, but that's how I ended up out here.
I was about to say, was this person helping you out with your music in any way, or
no?
No, it was
just with getting, the goal for me was to get to California, and she was in San Diego. I was like, you know what? That's only a couple hours from LA. I'll figure it out when I get there.
Man, that's crazy. Because that was around 2019 time frame from what I remember here in my notes. Is that what around 2019?
Yep, I got here in March 2019.
Yeah, and then that's the thing too. Once you're trying to pursue, the music and everything, and when you get to California, you kind of want to hit the ground running. Were there any instances where you had live performances, or you were trying to get your voice out there heard as soon as you got to California?
No, actually, I didn't have any of those instances. I had a friend who had been working with Cash Money. He did a lot of work for Birdman, and he sold me a dream. He was in Victorville at the time that I was coming out here. Right before I came out here, he was like, I'm well connected with all of these people, which I've seen some of his work. We met in Virginia Beach at a different studio, so I saw the things that he was doing, and he was very legit. He's on the credits. But he was like, I can walk you into any label you want. And I'll put you on, just come out here. And I was like, cool, say less. I trusted him. But that wasn't the case when I came out here. He sold me a dream, but he wanted love, basically.
Why is it, and not just with your case, but when it comes to upcoming artists, why do you think when people, they claim, they have that type of motion, why do you think from your perspective that I don't know if they feel they have to, but they start off with, quote unquote, selling a dream? Why does that happen to upcoming artists from your perspective? What do you think?
I think that it could be a couple different reasons. It could just be their ego. Maybe he really felt like he was the man. And maybe in order for him to feel like the man, you have to make a certain move. Like if you moved out here because I told you to, that's gonna do something for your ego. If you're one of those kind of people. But also it's a manipulative thing to do. To tell somebody that and not have anything behind it, it's kind of messed up.
And that's a constant theme I constantly hear. It could be with rappers, singers, even DJs, producers, anyone that's trying to go in that music lane. It seems like that's a reoccurring story. Someone tried to sell me a dream. I just think that's just kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Like, why would you want to, if you're trying to help somebody, or in a perfect world, in my J Stokes world, if you really see something in somebody, that should really be an authentic thing that you want to nurture. But it just seems kind of weird that people kind of put that in the lane of something to lie about.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think he did see something. I think he saw my vagina. I think he saw my vagina. And I think he was like, hey, let me get this over here. And I think it was a selfish thing for him to do, and kind of think that maybe if the proximity was different,
right, then
he would have an actual chance, or that I would believe him if he just kept saying all of these things. For me, I need to see action.
Right.
Your actions are going to tell me exactly who you are, you know? So I think once, like, and we did work a little bit, and then like it went nowhere, and then I was kind of like, okay, I understand now. I have to figure this out on my own.
Most definitely. Yeah, that's one of them things. And we're going to get to that a little bit later in terms of that type of lesson, as far as knowing when to move on. Getting to California, there was other moves that you made in terms of, getting further into the music. Now, I've heard this from other artists. They go to music camps.
Yes.
You went to one in London? Mm-hmm. What was that like? Because I've been to England before. I've been to London. I went to the Camden area one time a few years back. Was that the first time that you had done something like that?
Traveled, or the music camp?
Or the music camp, that is.
The music camp, I started with the music camp in Los Angeles. That was my first one.
Gotcha.
And it was the same camp. It was Creative Space Camp with Jason Hatch. Rest in peace.
Yes.
Started in LA, and then I went to Atlanta, and then I believe the next one after that was London, and then Miami.
Oh, there were other ones. Okay.
It was like a monthly camp, a different city every month.
Okay, and of course that's how I understand it. It's a way for artists to. It's a network and an education type machine that. Well, I don't want to say machine, but it's strategic, and I guess it includes music panels. You get to network, you get to talk to different people and get their ideas and perspective in terms of what you want to do for music in the future. What was the biggest lesson that you learned from those?
Learning how to network was my biggest lesson, because once I was outside of the camp environment and I'm in real life going to events on my own, like by myself, I don't have a friend with me, I don't have anybody holding my hand saying, hey, you need to go talk to people, really like breaking outside of your comfort zone and your shell and being vulnerable. Because you don't know what to say, you don't know how people are going to take you, especially if they've been in the industry and they're already established. You don't want to seem thirsty, you want to be genuine, you know what I mean? Like, that was the hardest thing for me to navigate at first. So that was definitely my biggest takeaway for coming out of the camp. And all the opportunities inside of it was just learning how to work with different producers, how do people work in like a group setting, and learning how to write with other writers and just things like that. So it was, if anybody is getting like started, I would highly recommend going to a music camp.
Yeah, because you did produce some music from it, did you? Were there any songs that were put together and that you were able to get some good insight on or get good feedback on during that time? My first camp in LA, actually, and this is crazy because I had taken from moving from Virginia to San Diego, I had a time period where I hadn't released music for a while. So when I heard about the camps and I started going to studios again, hanging out with like different artists, I didn't feel ready. I didn't feel prepared. I was like, my music is not ready. Is it ever going to be ready, right? Ready is a decision. It's not necessarily anything else. So I didn't feel like it was where it should be, but in order to get to the camp, you have to submit music and you have to be accepted into it. It's like you have to apply it. So I was like, all right, I wrote something really quick to a beat I found on YouTube and I submitted it. And that first camp, I ended up coming in second place or third place? I can't remember. Second place or third place songwriter. And that was just kind of like
the confirmation that I needed to be like, okay, I'm supposed to be here. I'm in the right space. I got really good feedback because it was such an impulsive song. I submitted last minute. I swapped it out for something different. I'm like, I want to see like how they feel about this. I want it to be critiqued. So that just kind of just set me off to start dropping music again. I was like, all right, let's go. That's exactly what I needed.
That's what I was about to say. It seems like it's highly productive, and then especially when it comes to the networking, that they want to see that. They want to see that that there is an inclination to put something out there.
Absolutely.
And so for you, did that kind of, I mean, that had to put like a fire in you in a little bit when it comes to actually putting the music, especially what you had just mentioned before, being with a previous connect that wasn't really productive. So then when you get to this point, it's like, you know what I'm saying? What does that do for you, like your motivation? It just make you just go
it
feel
did.
excited, like, ah.
It did. Like now my mind is like this. I'm like, okay, let's do this, let's do this. I started following them. Even if I wasn't able to go to the physical camp, I haven't gone to a New York one because they were in different cities every month. Okay. And so I would follow to see like who were the songwriters that took first place, who were the producers that took first place, and then I would reach out to the producers and I congratulated them and I'd be like, yeah, that's really dope. I really love your work. I love if you're down to work, like I'm down, and they would send me something, and then that would be the thing that I released. So we're still networking, but now I'm working with the most fire people from that camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like how I started dropping my music. So yeah, it definitely put a fire under my ass. I was like, let's go.
That's what's up, Sativa. That's what's up. Now let's get to the music. A list of songs that I wanted to go over. You have we're going back from further back up to the most recent. I'm gonna list them off. Private Party, Say Something, Inauguration, which I mentioned before. Inauguration was what got my attention. And you have Numb, Patience, and then the most recent single was You Do Too Much. Private Party was kind of like the fiery, spicy side of you. But then it seems like when I pay attention to like the imagery of your videos, you balance it out. Sometimes you kind of want to be in your face. And then there's sometimes where like with the music video for Say Something, you're kind of, that's what the title, you pretty much are, that's what the song is, you're saying something. And even then too, with the whole location, with the desert location and the attire and everything, it almost kind of reminded me of the Boyz II Men Waters Runs Dry music video, or the Case Missing You video with the desert feel with that. Yeah. What was the concept behind doing Say Something? Because that one had it made me think of like how Marvin Gaye does What's Going On, or that's the feel. What was behind it?
Yeah, it was a Marvin Gaye sample on the song. And I was like, this is dope. So for the video, I just wanted something dope, right? So this is my first single after a few years. I've changed my sound from wanting to be like a pop star. I've grown as a person and I've grown as an artist. I want to say something. I want my music to have context. I don't want to just rap about my... We don't need any more of that. You know what I mean? We don't need any more of that. So I want to be taken seriously, but I also know the kind of power that I harness as a woman in my femininity. So that was kind of just the visual for that, right? It was giving very like a goddess, very strong Black woman, I feel like I'm out here in the desert alone because all of these other women artists, and I'm not saying all of them, but what a lot of the industry pushes towards us, like the Ice Spices and the Cardis and the Megs and the Sexy Reds. Like, what is that? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I feel like I'm out here alone. So that's kind of like what that was representing, me just kind of walking through the valleys and the hills by myself, saying what I needed to say, talking about we really need to put context back into music, right, especially as women. It's way more to it than just talking about this and just talking about that. It's so much deeper.
Right, because Private Party come out first before Say Something?
Yes.
So that's why I was mentioning as far as the transition going from that, then going to it was a different change in the energy. Like I said, you're going for the spicy look, but then, like I said, Say Something was a 180 to be like, okay, that's not the only thing that I'm just trying to be about. When, because I remember an old interview back then with David Banner, and he was talking about how the mainstream artists, when it comes to the label execs, they'll actually say straight up, we're not doing anything, we're not signing anything but nothing but gangster ratchet music. And so that was like an eye opener. Well, in terms of, just learning and just kind of paying attention to what the past artists have said so far. And like what you just said, in terms of it doesn't always got to be, it's fun to be ratchet sometimes, but it don't got to be that it's oversaturated. Are you trying to, in the big, as far as the big picture, trying to show that, hey, it don't gotta always be about this. This is the other side of me. You're trying to show the different, like a kaleidoscope of yourself. Is that a fair assessment as far as, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes and no. People are gonna see it, so it's not necessarily what I need to show. What I'm trying to do is shift it. I'm just trying to shift it. I don't want to show it, but in the sense of showing it, I guess, lead by example.
It's almost kind of like you're showing change.
Yeah.
Because, we all change.
Yeah.
And that's important. Shows growth. And definitely with artists, singers, rappers, DJs, producers, they always want to show growth. Even when they do it through their music and the imagery, music videos, and it's just the actual tracks themselves.
Yeah, 100%.
That's kind of like, what I was getting from it. It was just like, okay, showing the transition.
Yeah.
And then even going in further, like I said, hey, inauguration, that's when we have our current administration. And you made it pretty clear through the artwork and through the whole song itself, hey, this is where we at as a society. And especially, we're gonna get a little deep here, but as far as what the country claims to value in terms of family and the well-being of people based upon what's going on in this country's leadership. In an inauguration, you kind of put that into perspective of how everyone is being affected by what's going on from the top on down. And so is that a fair, at least, that's how I looked at it, with the lyrics and everything. Is that what went into the mentality for inauguration?
Yeah, I was sad.
Yeah.
I was sad, and I didn't, it's crazy because I was never gonna make it a song, but me being who I am and writing my feelings, and my writing started as therapy. It's very therapeutic. And I just ran the idea by a friend, and he's like, yeah, you should drop it. I didn't have a beat for it. That's just a loop. It's literally just a loop.
It is.
My homie he's part owner of Waves, and he, gave me access to it. And I'm like, let me see if I can find something or make something that's kind of matching where my head's at right now. And that was the second or third sample I found, and I was like, you know what, this is matching my tone right now. And I just started writing, and it just flowed. And it's crazy that so many people are like, we love that from you, because I think it is just so here. We're just here with it. I'm not trying to be entertaining. I'm just speaking my thoughts. I'm not trying to make the Billboard Top 100. I'm just speaking my truth.
I didn't get that from that song. And you pretty much hit the nail right dead on the head, and I think you achieved what you were trying to achieve with that, because it definitely made me just listen to what you were saying. It's not all, don't get me wrong, I don't want to come down the street in my car beating down your block with some beats and everything, but sometimes it's good to hear what the artist has to say, and that's what I got from that. And it got my attention. It got a lot of people's attention, and considering the time and how sensitive it is and what's going on, here in California and just all around the country, even the world in general, because I remember talking to my friends overseas, they always asking me questions about why certain things are like this and that in the States. Sometimes I'm like, and just play Sativa Minerva's inauguration. That might give you an idea. You know what I mean?
When I went to London, they were like, why is this like this? Or like, why do they call you guys black? You're not black, you're brown. Why do they call people yellow? They're not yellow, they're this. And I was like, bruh.
I can't, look, I can't explain everything.
Yeah.
Some of it I can't even explain. I don't even understand.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's crazy. It's really funny when it comes to Americans, and as far as when we do interact with people overseas, yeah, the curiosity is really high. Does that also, interacting with people from different countries, and then, as far as with music and everything like that, do you feel sometimes that you want to write for those audiences to a certain extent, or does it not really matter to you?
I haven't felt compelled to at this point, but that's a good question. That's something that I would love to do, because inauguration in particular was played like over and over again in Japan. It was like most streamed in Japan when I was like looking at the stats. Yeah. And I was like, who in Japan is listening to it? Like, who are you person? You know what I mean? Like, you just never know where your music's gonna go.
Look, listen, I lived in Japan twice. And here's the thing, they really do love American music. And they, like I said, the curiosity is high, especially for people that have never left the country. It's like 98% Japanese, and a lot of the people there, they're there, but they do have this desire to hear from things from the quote unquote outside. Yeah. So that's probably why. Like I said, a lot of my friends there, they respect like a message in the music, and they want to hear it. So that's probably why you definitely got that a little bit of a surprising reception from that. That's most likely is. Hey, have you been there?
Not yet.
You need to go.
Not yet.
You need to go.
It is on my list of like next.
You need to go. It's fun as hell. It is fun as it, bro. It's.
And maybe there in September.
I'm telling you, hey, it's great there. But that's my guess. That's my guess on probably why they caught on to it.
Yeah, the timing for sure.
Other songs, Numb. I like it. It has that big. The way it's produced, your voice sounds big on it. Rapping and singing at the same time. What went behind Numb? Seems like it's also a really spiritual, in-depth look at yourself and how you're thinking of certain things when it comes to relationships.
Exactly. And that state of mind in particular was very intense, right? I needed the intensity to come across in my voice. It was very impulsive when I wrote it. I didn't plan on, again, one of those things I didn't plan on like releasing it. A lot of my music is impulsive, but I needed something to match what I was feeling. And so I just went through a pack that I had, and I was like, all right, let's just start playing the beats. And it was that one, and it just came to me and it just started flowing. Basically about like seeing somebody and knowing that they have more healing to go through, and you cannot quite reach people who aren't on your level, or maybe I should say they can't reach you, right? Because the saying goes, people can only meet you as far as they've met themselves. And I met this person and they were just a little bit numb. And I'm so very like loving and warm as far as my own healing, as far as how I've been able to regulate my nervous system and my perception and my own reality. And just seeing that this person had been numb to being able to really feel like who I was, just the love that I had to offer, and I needed to write about it. I was kind of like, you're numb, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I was kind of like, you're numb, like, but I've also been there, so that's why I can recognize it. And that's why I also like said, I get so numb I can't feel you, like I get so numb I can't feel you in the hook, but on the verses I'm talking about somebody else completely. So I kind of like, I flipped it, and it's a minor thing, but I was like, that's just me saying I've also been there. This is not a judgmental space. I'm not coming like at you in that kind of way, but I recognize it, and I understand where that's at, and I understand where it's gonna go, because I can't do nothing with that,
That's what I was about to say. It's a mindful observation.
Yeah, I thought it'd be different. I did a little Linkin Park flip real quick. I thought it would be interesting.
Okay, I was wondering. Okay, I'm like, yo, what is this? Did she use something in this? So that's what it was. There was a Linkin Park influenced into it.
I love Linkin Park, yeah.
Oh man, I was watching. What was I watching a couple weeks ago on Netflix? They put all the Saw movies on there, and Chester Bennington is in one of the movies, and I was like, oh snap, that's right, he's in one of these. Because like Linkin Park, you always hear the music, and I'm like, that's right, he was in a movie. So thinking of Linkin Park, and I went ahead and listened to a few tracks after I watched the movie. But yeah, most definitely. That's actually really cool that you got all these influences, especially I did not expect to hear Linkin Park in relation to that.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, dealing with people with, when it comes to, people that are numb or anything of that nature, you got to have a certain degree of patience, and you got to track patience. What's the deal with it? Because it's a hip hop track. You had some verses. I remember on social media, you just dropped one verse, and then you dropped a snippet, and then you were trying to, you kind of gradually release a song, which a lot of artists do. But that was one of the methods that you used for that one and promoting that one. What was the deal with Patience? I liked it. It was a nice bouncy track, and it seemed like it was a little bit laid back. It was in between. It wasn't intense, but it was like, okay, this is cool. This is nice to hear.
We were just chilling with it. We're just chilling.
Picture vividly and show you what you give to me. It's more than all the chivalry. It's talent and your energy. The kind of thing that's meant to be. You're more than just a friend to me. Exactly who you said you'd be. You stimulate me mentally. A businessman, a scholar, a protector, and a gentleman. The realest man of all. He's benevolent and genuine. He's confident. He's focused. He's invested and intelligent. Tell us all about the sex. That kind of talk's irrelevant.
So my goal was to release a song a month, right? And just the video wasn't done. The video ended up being pushed back like 3-4 months. I was hot. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna drop the video. I'm just gonna take verses and like the hook and just drop little visuals for it. So that's kind of why I dropped it that way. And that's so funny you noticed that. But that's exactly why I dropped it that way, just because it threw my timing off. But yeah, I was just like, I'm just riding this beat. It was a hip hop beat, again, the boom bap beat from one of the Creative Space producers that had won. And I think that was another beat that he had sent me.
Okay.
And I don't know, my heart, I feel for hip hop.
Yeah.
It just speaks to me. And I was kind of in a situation, I was like, this would be dope. Let me let my mind wander and see like where I can take this to. And I was literally just driving. I do a lot of writing while I'm driving.
Right.
I had like an hour drive or something, and I just started like jamming with it out loud. And I was like, oh yeah, let me write that down. And it's just kind of like, that's how it became. It just came out like that.
Yeah, you be rapping. Like, yeah, I noticed that. That's the thing. Like, going back to inauguration, and then like with Patience, and yeah, you definitely like to rap. It's almost to a point where I forget that you can sing. And so when I do kind of, I listen to it, and then I'm like, it's like, that's right, she also can sing too. And then, so it's all one big mix. And of course, R&B and hip hop has always been like that. But definitely with you, it's just like, oh, that's right, she can sing too.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, let me get my Lauryn Hill on real quick.
There you go.
Because she is like one of the greatest to do it. And I would follow in her footsteps.
There you go.
You know what I mean? She's
most definitely. And you also shot the Patience video. Was that in San Diego?
It sure was. I could tell. It was on the bay, the Coronado Bay.
I could tell. San Diego's beautiful. I love it. It really is. You Do Too Much, the most recent song you had, the video that came out. You had a very interesting cameo in the video. Deron Cash.
Yes.
He was in the Michael Jackson movie. He
was. I'm so proud of him.
And the thing is, the first time I saw him, he was in a movie that's called Swoon. And it was directed by a director out here in California named Byron Manuel. And I saw this a little over a year ago. The movie, I think, is still on Tubi. And it's one of those thriller, psycho, lover type movies. And that's the first time I saw him. And he was the bad guy. He was the one that was pretty much, he almost killed the boyfriend, and he was trying to take his woman. And he was just, it was that type of movie. Almost kind of like Obsessed with Beyonce, and but that's what it kind of reminded me of. But you had him in the video for You Do Too Much. How did that come about?
So I needed a male model slash actor, and I met him last summer, actually. He was bartending at a venue where Kass was hosting his 5 Mics event. And we just exchanged information, and I was like, oh, cool. We connected online. He gave me he's a very sweet guy. He gave me some great tips as far as like where I can get headshots and just like things like that to kind of get back into acting and modeling. And so we just kept in touch. And so it was just kind of like, I don't know if maybe he had posted something and he just popped back into my head, but I was kind of like, he might be, if he's interested, like a great fit, you know, because when it comes to dropping visuals, I want both the male and female audience to be engaged. I'm gonna go for someone who is like more appealing. So I'm like, I think he had the look that I was going for, so I think it worked.
Right, because it was kind of, the song was kind of in the same realm, not exactly the same, but it almost kind of was like a lean back to Numb a little bit.
It was literally Numb Part 2.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was the same situation.
You know, like there's someone numb versus someone that's doing too much. So it's almost like like you said, it's a part 2, but it's a person that's just, like you said, it is doing way too much. Mm-hmm. When it comes to someone just doing absolutely too damn much, what is the most annoying thing about that in terms of in relation to the song? What basically what was the motivation for it? Did someone do too much recently?
I like to embellish when it comes to writing. Okay. I can take a little situation and be like, but what if we've exaggerated it and it could have been this, or they did this instead. Like it could be the smallest thing, but now it's too much. You know what I mean? So I just kind of use that as inspiration. But as far as that, think of like you're dating someone or getting to know somebody, or you have like a situationship or an arrangement or something. And the arrangement is this, right? Say it's like a no strings attached, very minimal, just this one thing. And they start doing the extra stuff that nobody asked for. And it's kind of like, well, you ain't got to do all of that. What are you doing all of that for? It's just supposed to be doing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here? We agreed on this and it's becoming this. Like, you're doing too much.
See, now
you're doing too much.
See, the irony in this, as you just explained it. So now, basically, when you wrote it, you were doing too much.
Me?
Yeah.
No, it was them.
It was them, but you, in the writing of the song, you had to do too much. Like you said, you embellish. Mm-hmm. So in the mentality is, to a certain extent, to write a song about someone doing too much, you just said it. You take a little situation, and then you make it big. Mm-hmm. So in a sense, do you feel like you had to do too much a little bit yourself?
I feel like I do just enough. I feel like I do just the right amount.
Oh, I had to dig at you a little bit. That was funny. But I get it. I definitely get it. The video was cool, great visually. And especially, like I said, with the networking too. People that can help direct you and help you out. Because it seems like you have a good set of people behind you, whether they work with you in music videos and music, that they are really trying to authentically help you out and help you go in the direction that you would want to go in. Is that is that how you feel right now?
I think so. I think I've had good instincts to be able to choose the people to help me. I don't have like a team behind me or anything. Okay. I just kind of have a preferred place to record at, a preferred engineer to work with, now a preferred like videographer. And that just kind of came with time, just kind of trying different people and saying, okay, this was cool with this, but let me try this person and figure out, do I like this better? What do I like about that I can add to this? Just figuring it out. It's just figuring it out. So then tell them like what my goal is or what my vision is. They are very like helpful to be like, okay, let me help you as far as they can. But sometimes it doesn't always like hit the mark for me. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'll try someone else. Yeah. If that's the case. But for the most part, yeah.
That's part of the process. You're trusting the process.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. I'm just trusting the alignment.
you're going over with all the music that you've done so far, and you have to pay attention to yourself and be self-reflective. What do you feel is something that you can improve on, or something that you feel you need to work on? We always look at the good things that we like. Oh, I get this, I killed this and that. What is something that you feel that Sativa Minerva needs to work on in terms of her music?
I feel like I'm a little ADHD with music. Like, I'll start a song, and before I finish this one, I'll like get an idea for something else and start another one. And now I have like 5 songs I need to finish. I really need to like complete the next one before I start the other one, or figure out a better system of the way that I create, because I feel like that slows me down.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I feel like I should be pumping out music faster, but at the same time, I allow myself to live and have the experiences, so I do have inspiration and things to write about, because every level of me as a person, as a woman, the things I experience in my life is exactly what brings about my art, my creativity. That's literally how it's created, because we're out here living and existing and experiencing, and that's how you just let other people know what you're going through.
For sure.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the fun, thoughtful stuff. You work with Kass. Mm-hmm. Kass is dope. He's dope.
Homie, legendary, yeah.
Yeah, man, because he's been around for a while and definitely established himself a hip-hop legend for sure. One of definitely the lyrical artists of the West Coast too. How did that come about? Because I saw like you in pictures with him, and I'm like, okay, this is just not like, let me take a picture with him. There's work going on.
Yeah, we were in the studio.
That's what's up.
I met Kass in San Diego. He came to the holding company. He had a performance there. Rich Martini will host these events and bring different rappers together. And I don't know if KRS-One was there that day. Someone was performing that day, and Kass was there. And I just happened to be, I think I was exiting the restroom, and we exited at the same time. And the sink is like back to back.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's like the women's on the side, the guys on this side, and there's like nothing but like a glass between you, so you can see who's washing their hands.
For sure.
And I was like, yo, what's up? Like, let me get a picture or whatever. And he was like, yeah, it was super cool. And that's pretty much like all that was. Fast forward to last April, he was on a panel, a cypher panel up at CSUN, and it was also like a cypher and a beat battle.
Okay.
And my homies were, I knew another guy on the panel, and I also knew another guy entering the beat battle.
Sure.
And I knew someone else was going to be there. And so I was like, let me go support the people and say what's up to the homie while he's in town. And Kass had said that he started the event, the 5 Mics event, and he called it a ladies' lounge. So I was like, oh, what? Ladies and hip-hop? I'm so there. I'm like, yeah, I'm hip-hop. Let me check it out. Let me see what's going on. I didn't know what to expect. And so we kind of tapped in. We locked in. And then I met him at the event later that night. And then from that, like, we just got really cool. Like, we became friends. He hit me up to do some vocal work on some of his stuff. We ended up hitting the studio a few times. I ended up building a relationship and working with his cousin, S-Class. So now we have a couple records together, and S-Class did a lot of stuff for BMF and still does. So like, that's how, yeah, it just kind of happened really quickly like that.
Did he teach you any like really valuable lessons so far, or with the work, not like directly like taught you things, but like what have you learned with that experience so far?
He gives me advice.
Yeah.
He'd be like, let me hear something, like what you got going on. And he's very much like, he doesn't have so much feedback to give me, because he's just like, you got it, like you're good, like you don't need me. But I'm like, please, sir, give me a wealth of information. Like I want, like, you're legendary. So many people love and respect you. Like any pointers I'll take at this point. But I appreciate that he's just so cool and so chill.
That's what's up. Yeah, no, when it comes to meeting artists and stuff like that, yeah, sometimes you do run into certain people and they're not who you expect them to be. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for sure, that's a blessing. That's a blessing for sure.
He is such a good person. Like, he introduced me to will.i.am. He introduced me to half of Wu-Tang, to RZA. Just like mad people, yeah, like, He's like, hello, I'm Robert Diggs. I'm like, you RZA,
yeah, exactly.
But
yeah,
I'm like
come on
being
now.
cool. I was like being so cool, and I was like, bro, like just so casually, like, hey, what's up? Because he's locked in with everybody. And then from there, I met like Ghostface, and now like Ghostface fucks with me. So it's just like,
there you go.
It's just like a snowball effect.
There you
if
go.
will.
Networking is very important.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a constant thing with your journey so far.
Yes.
You are just networking.
Yeah.
Even when you just mentioned earlier, you don't have a team behind you, but that's what I was saying earlier. It does seem like you're having a really good track record on still surrounding yourself with people that are just genuine good people. And that's definitely important. Because you don't want it to mess you up. I mean, you're going to run into some bumps sometimes in the road, but you don't want to hit too big of a bump. But it seems like you're doing a really great job with that. And that's a blessing. That's what's up, Sativa.
It is.
You did a Pop the Balloon event in San Diego. What was that about? I saw that and I was like, oh Lord. Is that like, when it comes to outside of the music, is it just fun to kind of get into, especially, with you being who you are, is it fun to kind of participate in stuff like that, even if it's just for fun?
Right, it's showbiz.
Yeah.
It's all showbiz at the end of the day. It's all, it's content, it's entertainment, it's people seeing a different side of you. I was actually paid to bartend that event, but they were short a couple of women, so they asked me to do it, and I was like, bruh, I'm not looking for love like this. You know what I mean? Like, these are the wrong one. I'm just here to get y'all drunk. And he's like, I'll pay you more. I'm like, all right. I was like, all right, say less. So that's how that happens. Yeah.
No, that's cool. It shows the well-rounded side of things. Because I think that's important for an artist to do. Not, you're present in the studio, you're doing the music, but then we see artists all the time. They do other fun things, other events, and like you said, you show another side of yourself, and that's actually pretty cool. Even with interviews, you're showing your capability on being like a public figure, and that's actually really cool. I didn't know that they kind of just brought you in just like.
Yeah, I just skipped to pop this balloon. I was just like full character. I like did the wind up and skipped and was like, pop. I'm like, dang, that was kind of cruel.
You're really enthusiastic, like. Why were you so happy to do that? Why were you so?
I don't know. I couldn't. It was the Hennessy. It had to have been the Henny. I don't know.
Why do y'all always want to blame things on Hennessy?
Because anything is possible. I don't know. It was so random. It was just a very impulsive, spontaneous moment.
That's
so
funny. That's what's up, though. It's funny. This is something that's been coming to mind for me. I feel like it's been like this for several years when it comes to music, the state of music changing, when artists release albums. Back in the day, we used to be able to listen to albums from beginning to end. For you, what is an album in recent history, like recent times? What's an album that you can listen to with no skips from beginning to end? Because you know what I'm saying, quality music has changed.
Recent.
Song lengths have changed. A lot of things have changed, but it's very rare that you find an album like that you can, beginning to end. You may repeat some songs as you're going through it, but then you can still just go through what's one that you can think of. I have one, but I'm gonna let you think.
Wow, a recent
album. It could, let's say, within the past 10 years. It's tough. It really is tough. But when you find it, you're like, yes, finally.
You know who has music like that for me? Anderson .Paak.
Okay.
He's just a vibe all the way through and through. And I love listening to his lyricism and just his melodies and his harmonies and just the way he just infuses the funk with the hip hop, with the R&B, with the soul, so he's a lot of what I listen to when I'm studying, right? Because he's to me, I don't want to say the next Prince. But
be careful.
Very much so, with his abilities, with his talent, his abilities to play music, instruments, to entertain, and all the other things he has going on. He is a true superstar, and I respect him a lot. So I liked Malibu. I think Malibu is my favorite album off of his that I could listen to. Beginning to end like that, no skips.
For me, it's The Weeknd's last album, Hurry Up Until Tomorrow, for me.
I didn't hear it.
I feel like The Weeknd, I mean, yeah, if you've listened to him, you know, he has that dark, big sound. You know, you heard the music. But this last album that he put out, it was like, I'm going to try to listen. Every song, it's like, it's on point.
Yeah?
At least from my perspective. That's for me. That's the most recent album for me. There's other ones prior, but for most recent, because that album came out early part of last year, that's the one for me. I know I'm kind of weird.
I want to check it out now because I don't think I've heard.
It's a good one. It's a good one. It has the Timeless track on there with Playboi Carti. That's the one for me that's just been from beginning to end, no skips.
Okay.
Maybe some repeats on the way, but no skips. But hey, you know, that's something I've just been kind of wondering. I'm like, man, what's the one from beginning to end?
Yeah, that was a tough one though. It's a tough one.
Because like I said again, it's not often you run into that. Not in recent, you know, in terms of music, it's not often that you run into that.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I pay attention to your Instagram. And we talked about Japan earlier with inauguration reaching Japan. You have a saying on there that on one of your posts where you make a reference to the saying, and I'm familiar with this. If you get on the wrong train, get off at the nearest station. The longer it takes you to get off, the more expensive the return trip will be. That is very true. I remember all the late nights and early mornings I've had, and I fell asleep, and I'm like, daggone it, I'm 4 stations past my station. And you really do got to pay more. You really do pay for it, literally, and sometimes figuratively. For you, Sativa, what are some trains, or what is one train that you got on and that you felt like you stayed on it too long and you were like, I got to get up on out of here so I can get back?
For me, it's a romantic relation. Being in the wrong, it's not a wrong relationship, being with the wrong kind of person in a romantic relationship has always been, has always held me back, slowed me down, and ultimately has been a distraction of mine. So I feel like I'm learning a lot lately, because if you end up with somebody who doesn't have the same kind of healing and ability to regulate their nervous system, your realities are always going to be different. They're always going to be different. I stayed trying to help somebody too long, and I self-abandoned myself. Because I did that, it put me in the hole mentally, financially, spiritually. I was not in a good place because I stayed there too long. And it cost me. I had to make that up financially. I had to figure it out. I had to dig myself out of the hole, because by the time all of my energy and my resources were completely depleted, I didn't have anyone to pick me up. And that is something I will never forget. I will never forget that. So that hits heavy when it comes to the past relationships that I've been in.
Did you feel like you did too much with that?
I absolutely did. I didn't know, because I'm such a giver, and my love language is acts of servitude and gifting. It was just literally, I emptied myself. I literally gave you my cup until I couldn't help myself anymore. And that's a beautiful thing to love that way. A lot of people don't love that way, but not knowing how to harness that kind of power within myself cost me. It cost me.
What is the overall message you want to put out through your music and future music?
Overall,
yeah. I mean, because you got some tracks out now.
Overall.
You know what I'm saying? I think, because like I mentioned before, as far as you having the different transitions throughout the music of what you've, through your imagery and what you've shown so far, is the message going to be still the same, always changing, always growing, or is it going to be tweaked and going to be some different nuances to it? What do you think?
As of right now, I think it is going to be always changing, always growing, because if you're not evolving, if you're not changing, then you're staying the same, which means you're stagnant, which means you're done growing, right? And then that's it for you. You can go die now. You know what I mean? Basically, what does a plant do when it stops growing? When it starts dying? You're either growing or you're dying.
Right.
That's how I look at it.
Sure.
So we have to keep evolving, and me being that kind of artist and showing people that that's who I am, it gives them the inspiration, I guess, to do the same. Whether or not you're an artist, whether or not you're just a person, but we should all continue to grow. We should all continue to evolve in your music as people, fashion, whatever, in your creativity. It doesn't have to just only be music now. You want to go write a book, you want to go write a screenplay, you want to produce a film, you want to dabble in a different kind of business, whatever it may be. It just keep growing.
That's what's up. So what's coming up next for you? Anything we can look forward to coming from Sativa Minerva? What's coming up? No, don't hide now.
Yes. I'm working on my EP right now. I'm working on an EP with my one producer, Sandman. Him and I are working on an EP. I'm finishing it, and I have the first single from it dropping next month, the music video. So I'm excited about that because it's like aggressive hip hop.
Okay. Yeah. So by the time this interview comes out, because it's going, it might be out around that time.
Yeah.
All right then, because that was going to be my question. I was thinking, is there going to be an album? I'm seeing singles. Is there going to be an album or like you said, an EP?
Mm-hmm. So I'm starting with the EP, and I have another producer. I mean, I'm just working with so many different people. It's hard for me to do one conceptual album. So just building my catalog.
Sure.
Working over here until I get to that place where I feel like, okay, now I'm ready for this kind of project. But yeah, a couple EPs for sure. And then continuing with the singles in between and building my catalog and just letting people see, hey, I do like to do some R&B. I do like hip hop. I might get crazy throwing a little rock in there. You don't know. You never know. It's all love. It's all me though,
That's what's up. Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, we're going to get that project, and we're definitely looking forward to it.
Yes.
For sure.
Thank you. Me too.
Sativa Minerva, thank you for coming in. And that was another thing I was going to say in regards to, getting ready to release your EP. When I do go on IG, it seems like every once in a while, you're really consistent on making sure you let people know, I'm in the studio, because that's why before we start the interview, I was like, you were just in the studio a night or two ago, weren't you? Mm-hmm. And so it seems like it's a really good, consistent thing with you from what I can see. Yeah. And it definitely shows the dedication and even what we talked about throughout your whole interview here in terms of where you went to get to where you're trying to go. It's cool to see. And so far, all the artists that I've talked to, everyone kind of, from the main thing that I'm hearing is that people are really trying to be authentic, be themselves, and trying to, like I said, really trying to show that they're about this life. Yeah. And you're definitely showing that yourself.
Yes, thank you.
And so definitely I'm looking forward to more releases. Anything else you want to add before I let you go? Because I know I got to get you up on out of here.
No, it's okay. No, just piggybacking off of that, that's something that I learned at one of the creative space camps. They're basically like, if you're not putting in the work for yourself, if you're not out here getting it, who's gonna do it for you? And not only that, how is somebody going to want to manage you or sign you if you haven't already done the footwork? They're not looking for another Billie Eilish or Sabrina Carpenter or whoever, you know what I mean? To develop and train. You got to be out here doing your own shows, creating and building your own fan base, establishing your brand and your business yourself before anyone's like, all right, she's getting 100 million streams on her own. Let's sit her down and have a conversation. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just what it is. It's consistency. It's everything.
Right. Most definitely. Oh, and one more thing. Mm-hmm. As far as live performances too, when's the next time you're going to be on stage? Do you know?
Next month, July.
Okay.
In July, yeah.
Okay. All right then. I'm going to look out for it. If I can make it, I'll let you know for sure. Anytime I come in town, I'm like, let me see who's going to be on stage or who's doing something.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, Sativa Minerva, thank you again for coming in.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to what's going to be coming up next. We're all paying attention. Most definitely. People got their eyes on you. No Tupac, all eyes for real, you know what I'm saying? And until next time, let's do this again.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Most definitely. Peace.
Peace.